everyone, welcome back. It is time for another wrestling review. It is Monday. That's right. TNA had their annual Victory Road pay-per-view over the weekend. So once again with me, we have Campo.Reviews, the man who reviews movies, TV shows, everything else in between. Make sure you go and give him a follow. I'll leave the description, the links in the description box down below. And while you're down there, you can also give this video a thumbs up, a like. We're getting closer to our goal of 350 before the end of the year. So let's make that happen. Make sure you like this video, comment, share, subscribe with all your friends. He's got Terry on his shirt, and I got TNA. And a team that's defunct that's moving to Utah.
The Utah Yaz?
No, do they even have a team name, or are they just Utah
There's
Hockey
Utah Hockey Club
for now?
for now.
Okay.
The name options are really bad.
What do they got?
Like the Yetis and the ice,
Yetis.
the mountain ranges. Like they're just really, really stupid ass names.
Oh wow. Okay. But anyway, we're not talking about hockey. If you want hockey, go to RLG Cast. He has hockey stuff up on his
go over
channel.
there.
Go over there. But we are talking about TNA wrestling, Campo.Reviews, and we'll start off with we had a couple pre-show matches. We had first pre-show match was Kushida versus Leon Slater.
All right, so here's the deal. I didn't watch the pre-show.
Okay.
So I'll allow you to talk about it. The pre-show
Okay.
doesn't affect our scores anyways. So
No,
I just
it doesn't,
chose
unless
not
it's
to.
really good.
I'm going to be honest with you. I chose not to watch it. It wasn't like I missed it. I was like,
Okay.
I don't want to watch an extra hour of this.
Yeah, they weren't long. They were like 15 minutes. So you wouldn't have wasted too much time.
So maybe one day I'll go back.
Yeah. No need. Leon Slater's good. He's only 20. He's gonna be a star if somebody doesn't pluck him first. Kushida wins. I guess they dropped the whole spitting gimmick with Kushida.
So is Gresham injured?
I guess so.
Is that why they did it? And then you just had him lose so much lately that you're like, why not let him destroy one of our young wrestlers'
Talents.
careers?
Yeah, exactly. And then you
Wow.
had random tag team match of Hammerstone and Jake something against Eric Young and Burt Macklin FBI.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing Jake something is heel now and Steve Macklin is a face. Hooray.
Well, we find out later. Well, not later. We found out today that the tag team, the guy that you're like, well, what happened? They're pushing this guy. They're not pushing Jake something anymore. Well, guess what? Jake something and Hammerstone are a team.
Yes, and they win. So, but the thing is, something happens later in the show, which we'll talk about. Doesn't make sense. So we'll go into the main show. You got the Hardys facing off against First Class.
Okay.
It was fine.
So let's talk. I have a few notes. Like, okay, I was like, you know what, we're gonna take some notes. I got this notepad. So number one, I would like to say this is at least at arena value. I mean, most of their pay-per-views, they've had a decent amount of people there, but this was the best looking in terms of both presentation and the
attendance.
And the way the attendance looked. Like in the Las Vegas arena, the way the layout is, it just doesn't look like that many people, even though there's a lot. And in that Montreal one, it did look a lot, but they didn't do a good job at showing us that there was a lot of people there.
And this one didn't have a lot.
This one did. It was over 2,000 people. It's the most tickets it's the most. I don't know the most tickets if they sold for a pay-per-view this year or the most they've sold for a Victory Road.
The most they've sold for Victory Road, it's just slightly over 2,000 tickets.
It was a lot of people, and it looked nice. They did a good job at presenting it. There were some audio issues.
Yes.
But I think visually it looked really nice. They did a good job presenting it. It felt like they're now in a class where I think they've finally left the box of MLW and GCW where they were kind of like locked into.
Yeah.
They're now proving that they are definitely bigger than those two companies.
Yeah.
At least that. And like I don't want to knock anything yet till we know, because we're about to see the pay-per-views coming up. Scott D'Amore's whatever it's called.
Maple Leaf Pro.
And that's fine. But the storylines might be lacking without him. But
yeah,
I've noticed doing better without him. Like, I know maybe he left them in a good position, but I feel like maybe he could have been one of the problems. Because they've thrived. They got the WWE deal, which they weren't going to do with Scott D'Amore.
No.
Probably he probably wasn't going to take that. And their crowd now is like back. The problem
Yeah.
I do have though, last thing I'm going to say about the crowd is it's WWE heavy, and there's a thing later that happens with Steph DeLander where it was so insensitive and it was such a WWE fucking
Yeah.
crowd move, and like it was like someone trying to like be real, and I was like, nah.
No, you don't do that. You don't do that. But back to the match at hand. This was fine. First class looked fine.
Yeah, it was better than I expected it to be for sure, but like
Casey
something looks
Navarro,
off
like
about Jeff Hardy again.
he really impresses me.
Top Dollar did the knee thing, the
Hmm.
knee strike where he fell over the ropes after, and it looked
Yeah.
awesome. Like it looked like he crushed Matt Hardy or whoever it was that he hit in the corner.
He's trying hard to redeem himself from that fumble. He can move. Like it's
Yeah.
not like it was a one-time botch that he'll never live it down. Kind of
Navarro
like
looked
when
good again.
but yeah, Navarro looked great. Like you said, Jeff looked a little off.
Yeah, but the one spot they did was a twist of fate
Hmm.
into a neck breaker.
Yeah,
And that looked amazing. I was like, oh
yeah.
shit, this is wicked.
That's like old school Hardys.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought this match was really solid, like
Yeah,
surprisingly.
it was a good opening match.
Yeah, what it should be.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? They're kind of figuring it out. I'm
Yeah.
happy. So far so
They set
good.
the tone. They're starting to set the tone because the Hardys do go over. That's the only thing I have against it. I think maybe for if you really want to start building up your tag division, you had Hammerstone and Jake something win earlier. Now you have I would have put first class over on this one.
Yeah, you've established Macklin and Thing as a tag team now.
Hmm.
So you're kind of having more tag teams. They're
Yeah, you
actually
want to
trying to build a
establish.
division.
Yeah, and maybe next have first class beat Eric Young and Macklin, right? This
Mhm.
way.
Yeah, and then you got the Rascals.
Hmm.
Um,
I think
I
Trey
think you should.
Miguel is injured. That's why we haven't seen
He
him.
is. But I would put what's his name? I would try to make a tag team somewhere down the road with Josh Alexander and
Hmm.
Mike Bailey. But you should
Canadian
make Kushida
Connection or
and
something.
Gresham a tag team.
Yeah. That's what they were pushing before Gresham got
I
hurt,
remember the
remember?
first time he got injured.
Yeah. But speaking of the aforementioned Mike Hardy's go over, the aforementioned Mike Bailey is next. He is challenging Zach Wentz for the TNA X Division Championship, the belt which he technically never lost.
And I'm not a big Wenser, we know this,
Hmm.
but this match was exceeded my expectations.
Yes, it was really good. And what I also liked about it, like we won't spoil it just yet, but the fact that there was no Wesley interference in this match. It was just a solid X Division style match between these two.
Yeah, I agree. I think there was a decent in-ring story told. I don't
Hmm.
know. There wasn't much of a story to tell. It's just I didn't lose that belt. I'm the
Yeah,
champion.
it's my rematch clause, right?
Yeah,
In the end though, Mark Daly, the guy from City TV everywhere. If you know who that reference is,
nice.
but Mike Bailey does end up winning. He wins the belt back. So
So
my thought was they only put the belt on Zach
yeah,
Wentz so
they
he could
did.
break.
I was gonna say that. So thoughts on that? We know that, and I think the reason that they were so willing to do that is because, in the grand scheme of things, you've now stat padded his Wikipedia wins for Mike Bailey because now it says
Mhm.
I've won this many
Three
times, right?
times. Yeah, he's one of the few three-time winners.
And for the majority of people out there that aren't us, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of like overly smart marks like us
Mhm.
that are just pure jerks, pure jerkism like us. But nobody's looking at how long they won anything for. It's all just like, oh, they won this that many
Yeah.
times, right? And so I think for a lot of wrestlers, that's a very important to
Well,
them.
it's like, yeah, you say, Chris Jericho won the Intercontinental Championship 9 times, but his combined reigns is what, 240 days?
Yeah. And it's like you can almost guarantee this. Like, let's just put
Yeah.
this out there right now. We can almost it's like John Moxley's AEW wins.
Hmm.
He won 3 times, but only one of them was an actual reign.
Yeah.
Um, Mike Bailey's going to Japan. As soon as that contract expires, New Japan
Yeah.
is going to throw whatever he wants at him. There's no way they're losing another out on another wrestler.
Yeah.
So TNA's just trying to keep him happy for now.
Yeah. I agree.
Plus,
Because
Veda Scott kind of works for New Japan.
yeah, because he's always on, like, he always seems to show up on New Japan's before this deal with WWE. Bailey was always on those New Japan Strong shows.
Yeah,
So,
and by the way, we'll see it later. They're definitely still Bullet Club. All of their clothing has Bullet Club logos on it.
yes,
Okay.
well, we'll see that later. But in the end, Mike Bailey does win. He's your new champion, and good for him. I didn't
I'm
mind.
happy. I'm
Yeah.
happy. I don't like
The
short reigns like
No,
this
but the X
short.
Division belt is one of those belts that, yeah, you can do a couple, like not a lot. You can't just hot shot it all the time, but you throw in a short reign here and there, that's fine.
We're on our first of three hot shots that are not even the first hot shot or the second hot shot, but like the fourth hot shot of said belt.
Yes. So we'll go into the second. Spitfire against the Militia, but unfortunately, Alicia Edwards still can't compete, so they replaced her Tasha Steele. So I'm guessing it's a Freebird style rules.
Yeah, so
And
before
if
we
the
even
Spitfire were to
yeah,
lose,
they
they
have
would
to
they would have to disband.
they
So
would have to
clearly, we knew
disband.
the outcome of this match.
I actually called this. If you guys want to go back and watch the last video when we talked about it, I exactly called
Oh,
what was going to
before this
happen.
match, there was something that happened. They removed it off the web page, but Rhino and PCO versus Matt Cardona and SDL. Let's talk
And
about that.
I think that number one, the crowd was bullshit for this,
Hmm.
and
Steph Delander is legit hurt. She's going to
a
need neck
TNA
surgery.
crowd never would have done that.
And
You could tell
this
this
could
was a
be a
WWE
career-ending
crowd,
injury. What she has.
and I'm well, that's fine for that. They shouldn't have done this on a pay per view,
No, this should have been on Impact.
and they shouldn't have had a match that wasn't a match. They should have let a match play out. They should have just let Rhino and Cardona play out after, even
Or
though
so what happens at the end? PCO walks away with they still kayfabing the fact that PCO is married to Steph.
yeah.
They walk out together, and Matt Cardona low blows Rhino. Have the ref ring the bell. Have a quick, even if it's just a quick squash match. Have the match.
Yeah, it should have been. You should have just let Cardona versus Rhino happen for a couple of
Yeah,
minutes. But
yeah.
apparently, PCO is also injured, so they didn't want to do this. And
Hmm.
apparently, Cardona is still injured.
Yes,
So this
yes,
whole thing was a kayfabe setup from the beginning.
yeah,
You wasted people thinking this was going to be on a pay per view card, and I think that's kind of shady. That's a
yeah,
shady fucking deal. That's a TNA move right there.
yeah. That is very much a TNA move. Timmy's just looking up what type due to a neck injury. The injury is legitimate. It's not a, but they don't specify what. But she won't. She may not be back until next summer. They're looking at
Yeah,
summer
it's like almost
2025.
a year.
Yeah, summer 2025. But yeah, no, the crowd was really shitty for doing what they did to Steph.
Yeah, especially when you let her get that deep into the conversation without doing anything like that.
Hmm.
Why did you start doing it?
Yeah,
What? Like, yeah, come on, man.
yeah, that's
Let's
not cool. That
let's
that's when the crowd, like, we had this issue with Emergence during the Iron Man match when they just went into business for themselves and doing
yeah.
their own, like, same shit. These are guys that, like, TNA's picking up steam again. It's the cool thing to go to. So it's like these are WWE guys that can't get to a WWE show, so they go to these shows.
Or in their town just happens to be this specific show, and they're like, "Oh, I
Yeah,
know they're working with WWE now, so I'll go watch it."
yeah. But back to the next match, which was Spitfire versus. So we knew the outcome of this match
And I
because if
think
they,
for me, this was the beginning of not the pay per view becoming bad, but like the tone of the pay per view completely changes here, and
yeah,
I lost my enjoyment factor
because the
for my
first
rest
two
of the
matches were
journey.
fantastic,
Yeah,
and
it's not that it gets bad, but I was from here on out, I did no longer enjoyed my time watching this pay per view.
okay, yeah, because this match wasn't very good,
This match
and
was fine.
yeah,
So the Steph Delander thing is where I'm saying it started.
yeah,
And then like it led into this match, and then this match was better than I thought it was gonna be,
hmm,
but it wasn't good enough to like
bring you
make me
back,
feel okay about what just happened. And I was just like, okay, like I don't know, you
yeah.
dogged me on a match, the crowd's being rude, like I don't like what's happening, and
It takes the immersion out, kayfabe or not. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
and then you got to this match and you hot shotted the belts again, but we knew this was
Hmm.
gonna happen. I called this
Yeah,
that they
you
were
did.
gonna hot shot the belts on purpose to I mean they kind of had the belts for a bit, the tag team. But
Yeah,
wait, they lost it and then won it back, right? Alicia Edwards and
and no, yeah,
yeah, they
they
did. They
went back
lost
and
it and they
forth
won
with
it back.
Spitfire. Yeah.
So it is a hot shot for like the fourth time, just like the X division.
Hmm.
And so I'm like, okay, I don't really like this decision, but played out like how I said. They lost the belts because obviously you're not gonna disband your only women's
Yeah.
tag team.
Yeah.
But
So
you
it
built
was
a
like
new.
this. What happened was it was Decay won it in January. MK Ultra won it in February.
Mhm,
But because Killer Kelly got left and got knocked up by the fake Rascals guy,
mhm.
um, they gave it to Spitfire in March. The Militia won it in May, and now Spitfire won it back. So the Militia had it for
A
150
decent amount of
days.
time, but I'm saying this year, just generally, let's talk
It's
that.
already There's already the fifth
But I
title
knew
change
that I
this year.
called it in the last video that this was going to happen and they were going to turn on Masha Slamovich.
Hmm.
And now you didn't, you're smart because you kept Tasha Steelz there, so you still have a women's tag team.
Hmm.
But the reason I called this is because what you're going to do now is you're definitely going to put Masha Slamovich in the main picture for the title, or she's leaving TNA. It's one of those two.
I
It's
think she's
not.
leaving.
It's neither. There's no other option than that. Then you had to do that.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. She is a top 5 women's wrestler in the world
Hmm.
and deserves to be somewhere where she's going to get treated like that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. She's having some fun in Japan, so maybe she might go over there.
Hey, who knows? Maybe it's time like for your little excursion.
Yeah. But Spitfire are your new champs. Like you said, they turn on Masha Slamovich. Yeah. And like you said, they keep a tag team. But because Edwards is hurt, I think this was the right move in a way.
It was. I'm not saying it
Yeah.
isn't, but it played out so exactly how I described it last video
It was
that it's like
predictable.
it's crazy that they
Yeah.
actually did that. I thought there's no way you're this dumb.
Yeah. So with that, we'll go into our next match. Joe Hendry versus Josh Alexander.
Um, so I'm starting to have issues with Joe Hendry.
I think it's a little overdone now.
He's also like such a WWE wrestler to like the maximum
Hmm.
point where his character's good, he's a good talker, he gets in the ring and he's capable, but his matches are so one note, they're so
Yeah.
boring. He struggles to tell an in-ring story, and Josh Alexander's style is so like intense and they don't pair together well. Also, I would
It's
just like to say I'm really not a fan of Josh Alexander's character work. It's getting really annoying. His
Yeah,
heel
his
is
heel
like
work
so
is not
annoying.
good. No, his heel work is not good.
He's a whiny little baby, and I think he was
Yeah.
such a good face, and you need to get him with Mike Bailey.
Yeah, I think so. Or keep him as a heel, and once Ethan Page loses the belt, reform the North.
Like we said that too. That's a good idea. But I just think that there was nothing bad about this match. But when you see Josh Alexander versus Joe Hendry, I thought like, okay, we're getting like this
Yeah,
is the thing.
but yeah, it would be like it's like watching Kurt Angle versus R-Truth.
That's a fucking crazy ass comparison.
But
I
it
don't hate
is.
it.
But it's
Don't
true
hate
though,
it.
right? R-Truth is capable in the ring.
Yeah, it's like it's and we're seeing this right now, and it's not a knock on him because he's a really good wrestler. But
No.
it's like watching Sammy Guevara
Hmm.
versus Ricochet on Wednesday night, which was a great match.
Oh, that was insane.
But
Yeah.
Ricochet's still in that mindset of the way that you wrestle in WWE, and it's like
70%.
you could feel like that clash of like, and then it got past a certain time point where it's like he just was gassed again.
Yeah.
Um,
He's not ready to face Osprey yet.
no, and I think that's why they're doing this ramp up. But that match was really good. I'm really
Yeah.
you don't.
Dynamite was pretty bomb.
Oh, it was amazing. And you don't
Yeah.
appreciate Sammy Guevara until he's gone for a bit and he comes back and you're like, okay, you know what? Like, and Hologram is fucking amazing. I
Yeah.
love that guy. Anyways,
Yeah.
we're digressing from the point. This match was not bad. It was fine.
Yeah.
But I think there is a clear point now we've reached with Joe Hendry where it's like
Oh, he's at the peak now. That's
he's
it.
peaked and he's not getting better. He's kind
Yeah.
of just stayed where he is. And
Yeah.
he maybe needs to do more ring work with people on his own level. Because Josh is not a guy who's going to carry you in a match.
No. You have to work
As good as
together.
he is, you have to work with him.
Yeah. But Joe Henry does win because he takes the cup with his face off from out of his pants and hits him in the head with it.
And that was a good moment. Like I
Yeah.
said, there were some funny points here. There was some shenanigans.
Yeah.
But overall, it was fine. It was, if I was rating this match in a star rating, it's like a 3.5.
Yeah. But yeah, it was fine. Joe Henry does go over. So with that, we got a tag team match for the TNA World Tag Team Champions, the ABC defending against the System.
Okay, this match kind of got me back because after we went through
this match was
period,
good too. Yeah.
surprisingly, Brian Myers was really good in this match.
Yeah.
Like the ring work, like the selling work that he was doing, and like the
Yeah.
in-ring little story bits he was telling. Like I kind of really enjoyed that. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm surprised that I liked this match as much as I did,
Yeah.
but ABC is
But the
really good.
ABC always impressed, though. That's the thing, right?
I know it's true, and it's like they're the other two are serviceable enough, right? And
Yeah.
that's the thing that worries me about Joe Hendry is he has all the everything else of a superstar, but his in-ring work reminds me of Steve Macklin or Brian Myers or
Yeah.
Eddie Edwards, where yes, they're good enough,
They're
they're not
capable.
bad, but they're never gonna be like the elite tier of
That's literally what the industry calls a good hand.
literally.
They can give you a good match.
Yeah.
They can give you something half decent, but like you said, they're never going to be that top level.
Well, some guys make it all the way Triple H, but other than that, Dave Batista, but
Yeah.
there are guys that do make it, but like Joe Hendry excels in that one category far more than any of these
If
guys
Joe
do in that.
Hendry were to go to NXT, he'd excel in NXT.
I think Joe Hendry is your perfect
NXT guy.
like heel, like your perfect
Yeah.
NXT heel of just
Yeah.
being a douchebag.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
kind
because
of
I
weird.
liked I liked his heel work better than his
Yeah,
face work
I thought his heel work was so good. But
because he
listen,
still does those silly songs, but the silly songs don't work as a baby face. That kind of
no.
like now he's just Elias.
When your songs are dickish, you
Yeah.
can't work as a heel. And it's
No.
like, yes, do I miss Joya? I miss Joya so much.
Yes.
Okay. They were the greatest tag team of all time. But then again, Yuya was like so good.
Shoya,
Do you
we
remember?
hardly knew you.
Do you know how, like, looking back on it from
Is Yuya
today?
hurt again? He's hurt, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
But when you look today, sitting
So is Shota.
in your chair, sit in your chair today, and look back and try to remember a period of time when the wrestler the caliber of Yuya was just being background fodder on TNA. And it
Last
wasn't even
year.
that long ago.
Last year. He was so far down on the card that when I went to the CNE last year, he was on that show that
The free wrestling show.
the free wrestling show. Yeah.
That isn't that mental?
Yeah. Shout out to Dan who plays Reversal. We met him at the
Yeah, good guy.
yeah. But
I touched the ring.
yes, and the barricade. The hardest part of the ring you
It was the
touched.
hardest part of the ring.
Yes.
Barry Barricade.
Barry Barricade, yeah.
Hey, Barry
But
Barricade's not actually part of the ring,
no, he's not.
but we know what the hardest part of the ring is. It's the apron.
Yes. And we know how it feels now.
Yeah, it was hard.
Yes. But yeah, in the end, like let's go back to the match. This was a good match. Again, the belts are hot shotted and they go back to the system.
Yeah, not a fan. Don't like moves like this, but I understand why they did it.
Why though?
Because they
Let's
need
hear
to
your
keep
explanation.
they need to have some kind of gold in the system or they become irrelevant.
Yeah.
And they had to take the belt off Alicia, right?
Yeah. And
So,
we'll talk about what happens after, but
and
because
we're gonna and there's something I'm ready for this. I'm prepared. Let's
for what? The
the
next
next
match?
match.
Okay. So System of Your New Champs going on to the next match. Jordan Grace defending the TNA Knockouts World Champion against your best friend and mine, Wendy Chu, who lost to Kalani Jordan literally a week ago on No Mercy in one of the worst matches we've ever seen.
One of the worst women's matches I've watched since I've come back to watching wrestling, and I watched a lot of AEW Dark, which is dog shit wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Wendy Chu was a little bit better in this, to be fair.
but I think that's because the wrestler she was with is better. Like I
Mm-hmm.
told you, Kailani Jordan has the raw talent of someone who could be good, but she's not a wrestler. And the fact
Right.
that she's a champion is so mental to me.
Mm-hmm.
Wendy Chu at least has wrestling ability. She
Right.
just was super boring in that match. Okay. This match was
Yeah.
not exciting either. This match, the first half of it was so boring. But you can see what Jordan Grace is capable of
Mm-hmm.
in carrying someone along with her in a
Yeah.
match.
Absolutely.
And Wendy did a really good job of just being like, I'm going to let you throw me around.
Yeah. Like she's one of those talents that she's serviceable in the ring if she has a good partner to work with.
Yeah, her selling was very good. Like
Yeah.
her offense was mediocre, but it
Yeah.
didn't hurt because Jordan Grace sold for her.
Yeah. There was one part though, like it completely took me out of it, was when Jordan Grace is hanging in the corner and Wendy does the forearm smash over the chest and she falls before she even gets hit.
Yeah, I mean, You could see the WWE in her. I don't know if Wendy Chu ever wrestled anywhere before WWE. I don't really care. We
She
don't
actually
even.
used to be Karen Q in Ring of Honor.
Okay, so she does have a little bit of experience, but you could see like she was able to take the shots, but I
Hmm.
don't know how happy WWE was. WWE was with the way that Jordan Grace was hitting her because Jordan Grace was doing like straight up indie fucking I'm clobbering you
Yeah,
type
forearm
things. Like she dropped her on
smashes
her
and
head like a bunch of
yeah,
times. Where it's like I don't know if they were like they're at the end of this, they were probably like, what the fuck was that? But
yeah,
like, hey, when you're wrestling someone of the caliber of Jordan Grace, she's a big name now.
yeah.
And she deserves it. She's up there too.
When
She
they
those
tune in later this week, we got the men's PWI 500 review coming out later this week. But when the women's comes out in a month or whenever it is, she's got to be within the top 10 at least.
oh,
I would
she's
even
top.
say
She's
top
got to be
five.
top five. Like when we say our top five that I keep talking about lately, not all of those are going to make the top five because they weren't didn't hold any belts. Julia's
Mhm.
not going to be on it because she didn't
No,
hold any belts for the longest time.
she was injured for three,
Yeah,
4 out of the months, right?
yeah.
But Jordan
But
Grace has been the champ for a long
oh, for
time
sure,
now.
she's probably going to be number one.
No, Ripley's number one. They're
I
gonna.
hope not.
They always give it to a WWE name. Come on.
I mean, I don't think so this time. Tony Storm is going to be number one. Actually, Tony Storm is definitely going to be number one.
Okay, I can put money down that they'll give it to Ripley.
Okay, let's go. Ripley, you're calling Ripley. I'm calling Tony Storm.
Hmm.
All right. Actually, you know what? You know who it should be? What's her name? Vacour. It should be
Vacour.
Stephanie Vacour,
Yeah, it should be.
but it won't be.
No. Number
She's
one will be Ripley. Number two will
Vacour is going
be
to be top five. They love to have a one Mexican wrestler be in the top 10 that throws you off, and you're like, why is this happening?
one. Yeah, none.
You
I
don't
think
just
Athena.
love.
Athena would be in the top five. I think too,
Yeah, Athena would probably be.
because she's had over a year-long reign.
Athena's been top is a top 10 for me in the all
Yeah,
time like wrestlers right now in the world, female wrestlers for sure.
yeah. She's,
Anyways,
but she
we're
keeps slightly improving. But we're off
well,
course
Jordan
here.
Grace will definitely be top five.
Yes, it'll be Vacour, Grace, Ripley,
Tony
Tony
Storm,
Storm, and probably Bianca Belair.
no. Um,
Bailey, maybe,
Maybe Bailey.
but she didn't
Anywho,
have a long run.
who
But
cares? Do we care? We don't
Nia
care.
Jax,
No, I hope not, please. Tiffy.
Io
It could be Tiffy.
could be Io.
It could be Io. It might be actually because she was champion for a while
Yeah,
and she won the women's thing, right?
Money in the
No,
Bank and the championship.
yeah.
So,
So I mean, Bailey did win the Royal Rumble.
mhm. And won at WrestleMania, but her reign wasn't very long.
No, that's true. Okay, we're digressing. This
Yes,
match was fine. It was
yeah,
better than
it
it
was
should have been.
serviceable.
Um,
Grace retains. We knew Chu wasn't going to lose,
no, I mean, there's no way you're losing to an NXT wrestler.
but what I could see is Rosemary and Chu tag teaming against Grace and Slamovich.
I do know that the next World Championship match is going to be Rosemary.
Yes, that's going to be a Bound for Glory, from what I understand.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
from what I can see is there was like some sort of, they didn't show it on TV, but there was some sort of interaction between Slamovich and Jordan Grace behind the scenes. So I think they're going to be working together.
Samovich Grace 5. Was it 4?
Or where
I'll
Grace
take that.
yeah. But Jordan Grace retains. We knew Wendy Chu wasn't going to lose. Rosemary comes in, interferes. I think Wendy Chu, she fits in with Decay. Now the Jungle Juice is hurt.
That's fine, yeah.
And I'm fine with that. Mid card women.
You should have her and you should have Tatum Paxley be in that little groups. Those are the two people from NXT, and then you have Jungle Juice and her be the two TNA people, and that's a four person
yeah.
team.
Okay. So Nick Nemeth defending the TNA World Championship against Moose. I was afraid that they were going to do the belt change here.
I knew that they wouldn't. I thought that it was quite enjoyable for what it was.
Moose, Nick Nemeth made Moose look half decent.
Nick Nemeth got powerbombed through a table really hard, like to the point where I was like, was Moose actually trying to hurt this guy?
Maybe.
Like he really put him through the table. Yeah. And then like we'll just jump. JBL comes out.
So there's a few shenanigans outside, and Santana comes and helps.
Yeah, Santana comes and helps.
So eventually the ref kicks out he's trying to kick out Myers and Eddie Edwards. They
Mhm.
don't want to leave. Out comes JBL. Clothesline from hell to both of them.
And they were
And
hard. They were like
yeah,
not kayfabe. Like I'm like, you
I'm
know how
gonna
people
hurt
talk
you.
about him, where he's like stiff as hell and like fuck
This is
you.
Blue Meanie type.
Yeah, like Brian Myers just stayed down after. You could see he was like, "Yo, I hate you."
Yeah.
Like the look on his face was like, "You fuck you, guy."
Yeah.
Um, However, I want to say three things, and this was
Hmm.
something I was trying to point out to you last episode. His name is John
Layfield.
Layfield.
Hmm.
They never say the word JBL. They never
No.
mention the word Bradshaw. He's dressed completely different than he's ever dressed.
Hmm.
I
Not completely,
believe
but he's more of a like
I believe that he is no longer anything to do with WWE, and because of the lawsuits, he was released, and TNA has signed him, and he's working for TNA. Because why wouldn't he
you
be
think
called
so?
JBL? Why would he not be called JBL? And why is he not dressed how JBL dresses? He's wearing like
He
he's
still
dressed
is signed. He's still currently signed to WWE
to as a what?
as an ambassador.
Okay, so he's not signed to WWE as a wrestler.
No, as an
He's
in-ring
part of the
talent.
lawsuit. He was accused of the things that Vince McMahon was part of.
He was part of that.
John Layfield was part of the booking committee when that was happening. And so was John Laurinaitis.
Yeah, Laurinaitis, I know, was part of it. So was Kevin Dunn.
I'm not saying he did it, but I'm saying
He,
WWE quietly as he's no longer signed as a talent. He's signed as an ambassador or whatever,
yeah.
right? And so TNA, because why is he not called JBL?
But I mean, there is a talent exchange too, right? So maybe they want to distance JBL.
But he's not showing up anywhere except on
Well, I
TNA.
mean, JBL, the reason why he went by JBL was because when he was that Texas Tycoon type of character, that Donald Trump style character, he was John Bradshaw Layfield.
Yes,
So
but
so he
also he
switched
was
from
Bradshaw as Bradshaw.
right. So
He
they
was
just got
never
rid of the
John
Bradshaw
Layfield.
part and he's just John Layfield now.
Okay, but this is the thing. He showed up on what other show?
MLW.
And ML what show was
Was it
previously
MLW or GCW?
GCW?
GCW.
All right, which they do have a talent exchange with as well.
Hmm.
But still, I think as a wrestler, he's not signed to WWE. Yes, the talent exchange would work because TNA exchanges talent with
He's still
WWE.
listed on the WWE website.
Is he part of TNA? Just ask, see if he's signed to TNA. We're googling the
No,
wrong
he's
question.
not. He is WWE. He's still on their superstar page.
Okay.
So it still says JBL. I never challenged him to a street fight. Former WWE champion. Yeah,
Well, we digress from the point. This match was
yeah.
fine. It was decent. It worked.
Hmm. Yeah, it is what it is.
I was not upset by it.
No, and it wasn't a bad Moose match either. And we know sometimes Moose
Like I
matches
said,
cannot.
as a whole, I don't think this pay-per-view was bad. I think it was a pretty good pay-per-view. I do think that my enjoyment kind of was sucked out of me for that period of time there for
Yeah,
like three matches where I was
it
just
took a
like,
lot to get me back into it.
yeah, and it was, I don't know, 7.2. That's my score.
I gave it the exact same score.
All right then.
It was better than the last one.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely a good pay-per-view, good, but it
Yeah, if
wasn't
the whole thing with
anything
the crowd
special.
didn't happen, I probably may have scored it higher.
I think so too, because that really just sucked the entire life out of it. And the
It's
fact that you
not the
faked
life,
us
but
with
the
a
enjoyment.
match.
The enjoyment.
You fucking faked a match. Don't do that.
Yeah, I
That whole
think
promo didn't need to happen.
it just goes to show how much the crowd actually influences an event.
You know what you could have done there? If you were gonna fake us a match, have them be coming out from backstage and someone attacks her with like a thing and then write her off TV.
Yeah,
And then let her do her little Instagram thing like she did.
yeah,
Like, you don't need to
yeah.
do it at a
It was going to be a
pay-per-view.
7.1. The only reason I gave it a 7.2 in the end was we got the Santino interaction with his daughter.
Oh, we forgot about that. That I agree with you
Yeah,
100%.
yeah,
Except that she walks away, he says something and she goes Santino instead
yeah.
of dad. Like you called
Because
him dad.
they didn't they I don't think they're acknowledging the fact just yet.
I swear she says dad when he walks into the room.
Does she? No, I don't think so.
He says my daughter a bunch of times, I swear. My
Okay.
little whatever, I don't know.
I
Anyways, who
know
cares? Maybe
it
I'm
was.
misremembering this whole
Yeah, but
thing.
who cares? It was funny. I'm hoping for more interactions. I'm hoping to see Santino on NXT.
I hope so. He's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Listen here, you son of a gun.
What did she keep saying? She's the ambassador?
The liaison.
The liaison.
Liaison. Yeah. Santino's good. I love Santino. But
Yeah.
yeah, other than that, like I said, 7.2. That's the only reason why I gave it that little 0.1%. No, yeah. All right. So, with that out of the way, guys, thanks again for joining us. Like I said, tune in later this week. The PWI 500 men's list just dropped, and Campo and I will be discussing. I am a little bit disgusted at some of the names on there, but we will be discussing that list in that video. Who we think should be on the list, who maybe missed it, and maybe somebody that missed it last year is in the top 5.
I've written an entire list.
Okay, then. So, with that out of the way, guys, thanks again for joining us. And in the words of Kenny Omega, goodbye and good night.